what's up everyone? This is Matt Price back for another lesson. Today we're going to break down Black Dog by Led Zeppelin and one of my favorite drummers of all time, John Bonham. Let's check it out. So I don't think that the grooves in this song are actually that challenging to play, but what I do think is challenging is all of the timing issues. They definitely weren't recording to a metronome. There's a lot of weird breaks, and there's a lot of kind of like push and pull between what Bonham's playing and what Page and John Paul Jones are doing. So we're going to kind of look at this section by section. I didn't exactly know what to call the parts because it's a little like progressive, but I called the parts the verse, the interlude, the chorus, and the break. So let's examine it one piece at a time and kind of see what we've got going on here. And the full tempo of the song, I believe, is somewhere around 82, 83, 84 beats per minute, kind of fluctuates. So for the full tempo examples, I'm going to just use the video from the play-along recording that I did a little bit ago. That's here on YouTube. I'll post a link below. Also, I'll demonstrate everything at 60 beats per minute, which is about 75%. Practicing all this stuff at half speed, I think, is like, it's a real challenge and maybe not necessary to go quite that slow with it. So anyway, let's dive in and look at it. Let's start with the verse. Here it is. So the first thing to note is that the verses always start with Plant doing like a vocal thing. It's kind of a bluesy idea. And he basically sings a part, and then Bonham comes in with a drum fill, and then they play a little riff, and it goes back to the singing. As far as I can tell, this break is a 9 count. So I'm writing it out here as a measure of 4 and then a measure of 5. The drum fill coming in on beat 5 of that second measure, you can see it in the transcription here, and he's playing basically 3/16 notes, and then that carries over into the first beat of the groove where he's playing 1 E on the snare, and then the and of 1 is a crash hit, and then from there he just sort of plays like a basic rock beat for this first measure. However, even though that's like simple in theory, to actually do it is a little tricky because it's almost like the beat kind of like feels like it's backwards, even though he's still just in 4/4 here. In the second measure of this verse section, it's like a measure of 5/8, so they're kind of cutting it off short, and pretty basic 16th note rock groove type thing here. He does throw in 1 32nd note double on the kick drum, and I think what I'm going to do is eventually make a whole lesson about that technique, not go too deep into it today. So just stay tuned for that. I'll make a whole lesson on that soon, but let's keep going with this song. They repeat through this phrasing 3 times, and then they finish it out with a measure of 4/4. He just kind of extends the measure and adds what I consider a simple little flam drum fill. Basically a flam on the snare, and then a kick drum, and then a flam on the tom and a kick drum. And this transitions us into the next section. are a couple of other little nuances in the song, like the second verse, I don't think they do as long of a break before it counts in. And every single one of the vocal sections in the verses kind of has a slightly different feel to it. So if you listen closely with headphones, you'll always hear Bonham's sticks click at the beginning of the break, and then it's almost like when they were mixing it, they turned the volume down on the drum tracks. Plant sings his part, and then you hear them turn the volume back up, and you always get at least one, sometimes two, stick clicks that bring us into the section. This next part, I call it the interlude. I don't know what to call it. It's basically like a weird guitar riff that kind of goes over the bar line. Bonham here is just keeping it super simple, honestly. It's just a rock groove. But what I think is interesting is how he drags the time. At least that's what I feel. I feel it very, very held back and almost like sloppy sort of drunk feel where it's just super behind the beat, and he's just kind of like pulling back against that riff that they're playing on the guitar and the bass. So check this part out. This part transitions into what I call the chorus, which is, there's no real singing, it's just him going, oh yeah, oh yeah, stuff like that. But it transitions with a measure of 2/4, and then this whole chorus part is kind of an interesting, like, upbeat feel. So he's keeping eighth notes on the bell of the ride, and then kind of a backbeat with the snare and the high tom, just like a jikung, jikung. And then the bass drum's playing kind of a syncopated on the and the and of the beat. Now he does that, he kind of plays through that like 3 times, and then he does this cool little fill between the ride, the kick, and the snare. And this section is super swung on the 16th notes in the kick drum. So listen for that, and basically it's again like playing this held back, drunken, sloppy, but awesome John Bonham kind of feel. So here it is at 60, and then with the full tempo with the song. Let's look at the first break in the song, which is basically just this vocal melody thing that happens, and then there's a drum fill that transitions into the bridge. Now in that final measure, 9/8, this is where that big drum fill comes in. And so basically what we're getting is 2 beats, 2 quarter notes of rest, and if you listen really closely, you can sort of hear him click the sticks on those quarter notes. And then we get this drum fill, which I hear it as 2 groups of two groups of 3, 1, 2, and 3, 1, 2, and 3. So snare, snare, tom, floor tom, snare, snare, tom, floor tom, and then it finishes out with kind of a little bit of an extension on the pattern. So this is why I think it's 9/8. It's kind of like 4/4 plus 1/8 note. So just another one of those examples of how he really draws out the beat here and this kind of like, you know, slowed down, sloppy, but awesome John Bonham thing. So check out this drum fill. All right, the bridge of the song, really cool part. It kind of almost has like a calypso kind of feel to it. Do, jacku, ja, do, jacku, ja. But of course, they do it Led Zeppelin style. And this has another kind of classic Zeppelin thing where they accent the E of the beat. So I'll play through this part at 60 beats per minute and then at full tempo with the track. I don't feel like I need to explain a whole lot here because it's pretty much just kick, snare, hi-hat. But again, it's about the groove that they had. And, you know, I do my best to kind of copy it and demonstrate it, but John Bonham was one of a kind, you know? So here it is. All right, so that's a breakdown of this song. Like I said before, there is a play along on my YouTube channel. I'll post a link below. I also have a PDF to the full transcription of the song on my website, mattpricedrumming.com/songs and stuff. So you can go on there, download it. Again, I'll post a link. I want to thank you all so much for watching. Getting back into doing these drum lessons. I'm trying out a different angle in this video for the talkback camera. So let me know if you've watched some of the other stuff. Do you like this angle better or the one where I'm talking in front of the kit? I don't know, whatever. It's all experimental. So if you like this, if you like what I'm doing, subscribe, get that notification bell. I'm going to be posting more stuff as time goes on. And I appreciate everybody watching. Seriously, I do. It means a lot to me. I love drumming. I love music. And also, lastly, I just want to say I am available for online digital drum lessons via Zoom and rhythm coaching sessions. So if you want more info about that, again, mattpricedrumming.com. Thanks for watching, everybody. Peace out.